Well, we're talking Sunoco IMCA Hobby Stocks for the first time on the Beyond the Flags podcast, and we've got a good guest, and this is the leader of the B&B Racing Chassis Southern Region. He also leads the Arizona State Points. He's originally from the San Diego area, but he now resides in Peoria, Arizona. We're talking about Nathan DeRagon. He's next. But before we get to the interview, make sure wherever you're listening or watching from, you hit the like button and subscribe so that you don't miss out on future episodes. Well, he's the current point leader of the B&B Racing Chassis Southern Region from Peoria, Arizona, sporting the number 19 Sunoco IMCA Hobby Stock, Nathan DeRagon. Nathan, great to have you on here. You are not my first guest from Arizona, but you are my first Sunoco IMCA Hobby Stock driver, so I take a lot of pride in that. I like the hobby stocks, and I think here on the West Coast, they're a little bit underrated just because there's a lot of tracks that don't race them, but they're enjoyable to watch. They're a fantastic division.
Yeah, I agree with you. I definitely think the hobby stocks are pretty underrated on the weekly stuff. They probably tend to get overlooked quite a bit. But anytime we get showcased on a big stage, whether it's something like Super Nats or Winter Nationals, I think the hobby stocks are always one of the best shows of the week. So I definitely enjoy running them. It's been fun for me, and it's growing on the West Coast here slowly but surely, so it's always good to see as well.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, this last year's IMCA TV Winter Nationals, that's some of the best races of the whole 2-week period. You know, you had guys like Zach Tate doing well. Cody Williams, obviously, tough to beat. Dylan Richards thrown in the mix, all from different parts of the country.
Yeah, that's what's really cool for us, too. I mean, someone like myself, I've yet to make it back to Boone for Super Nats or have a chance to go race in the Midwest. So to kick off our year with guys like that coming down, I was able to win the final night, and I got second overall for the championship. Like you said, Cody Williams was tough to beat. He's been tough to beat for a lot of people all year. Then guys like Dylan Richards and stuff, past national champions, to kick off our season, it gives you that instant measuring stick to kind of find out where you stack up. Like we said, it's the IMCA stuff on the West Coast for the hobby stocks is still growing. It's definitely not as big as it is in the Midwest, so we don't get a ton of chances to really get that extra competition, I guess you could say, and see where we are. So to have them show up at a big event like that, get the chance to run it is always a good thing for us and a fun way to kick off the year.
Well, and Morgan Olmstead from Nebraska, another driver that was definitely in the hunt every night. And you mentioned, which was beautifully said, it's growing on the West Coast, as Merced Speedway is a track that has been trying to, transition into sanctioned hobby stock racing there. I thought I saw Thomas Daffern and even Scott, I think it was Scott Teeney, came up, made the trip up from your neck of the woods, and was able to support that, which is great to see, and hopefully that grows. I know that hobby stocks, there's, local, you know how that goes, local divisions, but it looks like with them getting sanctioning, that could be a good thing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's good for everyone. I mean, I'm from SoCal originally, grew up in the San Diego area, and raced, street stocks or hobby stocks, whatever the local tracks call them out there. And it's, there's still a decent amount of tracks over there, but every track seems to have a different rule book. And as a racer, it makes it a pain. That's one of the things that was nice when I moved to Arizona and everything started transitioning under the IMCA. I mean, all you have to do is look up and you see the IMCA logo and you're good to go. So if more tracks out there can start changing out and phase into it, I know it'll take a little bit. Everyone tends to have some pushback, and change can be hard, but all it can take is for one track to start and get the ball rolling and have people jump on board and support it. And cool to see Merced out there. I wasn't able to make that trip. Like you said, my buddy Scott Tenney went out there. Thomas Stafford went out there, and there's some local guys starting to get into it out there too, so that should help it grow quite a bit.
Well, speaking of Thomas Stafford, he had an incredible 2023. You're having an incredible 2024. Your car number 19, And you've got 19 wins this year, 36 top fives, 41 top tens, and 46 starts. Holy cow. And we still got a little bit of racing left this season.
Yeah, it's been pretty awesome. Like I said, I didn't do the full IMCA stuff last year. I was kind of getting stuff planned and geared up for this year. And Tommy's a good dude. Race hard with him all the time. Just raced hard with him this past weekend. We had another cool last lap finish, just like we did at Brona a couple weeks ago. And I kind of sat and saw what he did last year. I know he was running for the national deal, and as we all know, it's tough to do here on the West Coast. But last year, Chaz Baca, my buddy Chaz, showed that you can do it in the modified, which is arguably the toughest division that IMCA has. I think most would agree. So he showed it could be done. Tommy took a really good stab at it last year and had a really good year. And I came into this year, I knew I just wanted to race a lot after kind of being out of it for a little bit. And the way our year got rolling, we led the national deal for quite a bit. I still knew that was going to be a stretch because once the guys in the Midwest get going, they come on strong. But I think I'm still fourth or fifth nationally right now, leading the region, and still have some racing left to go. So I think I did pass his marks last year for points and wins and stuff, though. So I got the edge on my buddy just a little bit there.
Well, you talk about Verona getting a big win during the summer shootout that they hosted there in late July. You being a San Diego area racer, Verona Speedway Park, for listeners that are unaware of where that's at, Ramona Lakeside, not too far outside of the San Diego metro area. To get a win on the big stage like that at that facility for you has gotta feel wonderful.
Yeah, it is, especially because with how much I've been racing and how much Arizona has had this year, I haven't gotten to travel as much as I expected to because we're able to fill most of our nights at home. But like I said, that's where I got my start at 6 years old. I grew up there racing Mini Dwarfs and junior sprints on the small track there. So anytime I get the chance to come back there and race and win, it's always cool. It's a little bit reminiscent to get there and, I've been there for so long, turned a bunch of laps around that place and get to see friends and family and people that have known me since I was so small and don't even remember knowing them for the first time. So it's always cool to go back there, and especially for a big race like that to get a win. It's definitely a great feeling.
Well, and a real game changer, I feel like, in the last couple years, Deuce Club's Thunder Raceway, a chance for you guys to race in the late spring, all summer, and even in the fall. That, no doubt, has helped you, be relevant in the national title race. And I know that it's helped Chaz as well win a championship last year on the national stage for the modifieds. And that's never really been sort of an option for a while, it seems like, for the Arizona racers. It seems like you race hard in January, obviously, for the winter nats, and then you have some winter specials thrown in there. You go about till Memorial Day. Then it's not until like Labor Day-ish time that's when you guys come out of the summer break and then race relatively late in the year. But having Sholo thrown in the mix, Deuce of Clubs, that just made you guys year-round racers almost.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I agree with your point there. Without Sholo, chasing national points out of Arizona isn't possible. I think that's definitely one of the sole reasons Chaz was able to do it last year. Because like you said, I mean, our season used to be kind of broken up into two. You'd race those first couple months of the year, and then our off season was pretty much those 3 or 4 months of the summer. And then you come back for a couple races at each track to kind of close out the year, and then you had your end of year specials, and you're getting ready to do it again. And then now with Sholo being thrown in the mix, it bridges the gap for us during the summer, where normally if you wanted to keep racing on the West Coast, you had to really start logging some miles, and you're either going to Colorado and running Cortez, or going to Aztec in New Mexico, or making a trip up to Price, Utah, or something like that, just to get enough nights and stay in the game. But with Sholo here now, like you said, we start in January and go through November, so we almost don't even have an off season anymore, which is cool for us. A lot more racing than we've been able to have in recent years to try to keep up with the Midwest boys a little bit. I mean, they still have us beat quite a bit. They can race half the year and still get in some more nights, but at least it makes us a little more relevant in the national conversation and just staying in it all year.
Well, and also too to note is that it wasn't that long ago that it reopened, but there's no doubt that Brad Whitfield undertook quite a bit of criticism. What are you doing? This place hasn't been open for a long time, and then bam, they do it, and it's one of those Lazarus tracks where it comes back from the dead and it's thriving.
Yeah, and I think the situation up there is so unique too. I mean, it really helps. I mean, you go out there, it's very much small town vibes. I mean, the environment at the racetrack is always. I mean, there's nothing like it at any of our other tracks here. I mean, the fans are so into it. Like you can tell when the summer comes, the Fridays and Saturday nights, that's their thing up there is going to the racetrack. And it's just so unique. You're up there in the mountains. You're kind of away from everything. Like I said, it's got the small town vibe to it. It's a good old short track, boring, high banked. It's a fun place, man. You got to give him props for taking a chance on that and doing it really for the racers. I mean, someone who's already running 2 tracks, you don't have to take the time and the money and the effort to get a third one, right? I mean, people say running 1 track's hard enough, nonetheless 3, but to do it for the racers and give us another track to race at and something to do during the summer, you got to give the props due where they are. So
Absolutely, I wholeheartedly agree. Racing for you, where did that, so obviously, with the Mini Dwarfs and the junior sprints, how did that process start and what was your first memories of racing?
Yeah, so my dad, when I was smaller, someone in his family ran I think it was, back then they were factory stocks at Verona, and he randomly went up and kind of helped out for a night one time, and I went and sat in the stands. I think it was with my uncle that day, and I was sitting up in the grandstands, and I seen the little Mini Dwarfs pull onto the racetrack, and I had never seen something like that before. I didn't know, kids could drive cars. I mean, you're sitting there as a kid, you think only adults get to do that kind of stuff, and I was a kid since as young as I can remember. I was watching NASCAR, building tracks at the house, whatever. I was just, if it had wheels and tires and an engine, I was into it. So when I was up there at Verona, I seen those, and one happened to be for sale, and one thing led to another, and I had myself a Mini Dwarf, and I remember the very first thing I can remember when it comes to driving a race car is before we had bought my car, there was a car, they used to call it the Rental 10. It was a number 10 that one of the guys who build chassis up there, he had it, and he would just rent it out, for kids that wanted to try it for a couple races and decide what they wanted to do. And my very first time driving that thing, I was in the middle of the corner, and the steering wheel popped off mid-corner. And I remember just trying to grab the steering shaft and steer it by hand. My first race ever. That's one of the first things I remember. It was, looking back, it's pretty funny, but at the time I was kind of freaked out. So
at the time it wasn't funny.
Yeah.
Well, and how old were you about age-wise?
I started when I was 6. So that was back in 2005 or 6-ish. Because this is year number 19 racing for me. So almost 20 years gone by already is pretty crazy.
Okay. And you went through the course of the junior ranks, and then what was the next step? Did you move to more like the factory stock kind of hobby stock deal?
Yes, I ran Mini Dwarfs and junior sprints up until I was 11, and then around that same time we had built a factory stock for Verona. I started practicing that when I was 11. Just logging laps, getting used to a full-size car. And then after that, I made the switch to racing up in Paris Auto Speedway up in the Riverside area. Raced there for a few years in the factory stocks, won a championship, and then I moved up to their, what they had called them street stocks at the time, kind of like a street stock, hobby stock deal. Ran that for a few years, had some mixed success in that. That was around the time where I was just happy to kind of be there. We didn't have the deepest pockets to compete with everyone, and then I ran that until we moved to Arizona, and that's when the IMCA stuff was really starting to take off. Obviously the modifieds and sport mods have been a thing, but that's when the hobby stocks and stock cars were really starting to get implemented there, and we built one for that. And then I've raced some other stuff here and there in between, some one-off kind of deals, but been doing the hobby stock stuff since about 2019 now. So
okay, well, and that's a jump going from Verona, which is a small quarter mile, and then you get to one of really the last active half miles in California, Paris Auto Speedway. That had to have been quite the adjustment, and quite going from a bull ring to Speed Factory.
Oh yeah, that's the best way I ever described it to someone, which was quite funny at the time. Which when I was still in the factory stock, we went up there to Paris. The first year I ran, they had us on their quarter mile, and the second year they bumped us up to the half mile. And it was such a big difference going from something that small to the half mile. I felt like at the time my straightaways were so long that when I came in for my first session, everyone's like, "Oh, what's the difference like?" And my first words out of my mouth was, "I feel like I can eat a hot dog going down the straightaway because it's so much longer." Obviously, as I progressed in the faster cars and stuff, the speed factor amped up even more. And Paris is so unique. It's the surface there is always really good, always tacky. They got that thing prepped for sprint cars all the time, so it's always racy, and it's really a paper clip with two long straightaways and bank corners. So you're flying around there pretty good. So they go from a low bank quarter mile at Verona, where I turned all my full size car laps at that time, to hopping up there to Paris was quite the adjustment for me at the time.
Yeah, no doubt. Holy smokes. And that place can get giddy up too. Even though it's a half mile, I've seen some interesting situations.
Yeah, that if you roll out there and there's a cushion on that place, you better be ready to hang on the wheel for 20 or 25 laps or however many you're doing, because like I said, there's nothing quite like that place. I mean, we raced some big stuff in Arizona with Cocoa Paw and the track out in Casa Grande over Central Arizona Raceway. I mean, those are big, fast places too, but none of those really get kind of the curb that always seems to stay tacky all night like Paris does. So it's just a different animal out there.
Are you looking to find that adrenaline rush, but you can't because you're not at the racetrack? Well, check out the IMCA TV Replay subscription library to have access to thousands of hours of racing for just $24.99 a month. Relive all the moments of the Speedway Motors IMCA Super Nationals fueled by Casey's at Boone Speedway, the Harris Clash at Deer Creek Speedway in Spring Valley, Minnesota, the IMCA TV Winter Nationals at Cocopah Speedway in Somerton, Arizona, Florida's Clash on the Coast, and dozens of Speedway Motors IMCA weekly racing program racetracks from across the nation, as well as the IMCA TV Dirtcast podcast. Plus, 25% of that $24.99 monthly fee goes towards the Drivers Point Fund and is a great way to help out your local racers. In 2023, over $97,000 was paid out to IMCA drivers directly at over 50 racetracks across the country. Please note that live broadcasts are not part of the replay subscription. That's IMCA TV. IMCA TV, where America comes to watch racing. So your number's 19. What's the origin of that whole deal? Was that a number that was selected for you, or something that you picked out that means something to you?
Yeah, so 19 is actually my second number. Okay. I started out as number 54, and that was because the gentleman I mentioned before that my dad went and helped with that season at Verona, that I found out they had Mini Dwarfs and stuff out there. He was number 54, so when I got my car, that was it just kind of fell into place. That's what I ran. And then when I was transitioning from the kids classes up into the full size cars, a gentleman by the name of Eric Evans, he's well known in the San Diego area for racing. He was the one that offered to build my full size car when I was like 11 years old, and he said he'd take care of me. He helped me build the car, and the only stipulation he had was I had to pick a number with a number 9 in it. And at the time, the 19 was the only thing left that I didn't consider like a gross number when I was a kid. There was the high numbers like 79 and 89 and stuff, and those just they weren't very appealing to me at the time. And the 19 was open, and I picked it, and been with me since.
Nice. You could have been 199, Travis Pastrana.
I could have, but the triple digits never appealed to me too much. I didn't want to be the only goofy guy with a triple digit number.
Like I like to say, triple digits weren't cool back then. So
right?
Yeah. Now it's
the rave.
Now you have four digit cars, so
4-digit cars. I've seen 4 lettered cars. I'm pretty sure there's someone that runs a modified in the Midwest, and his number is just 4 X's. So I don't know how they get away with that, but it's definitely different. So.
Yeah. Well, I got Colin Weinbarger up here with the Superman emblem. That's his number. And then Travis Ulmer in North Dakota, he's got the question mark car. Looks like the Riddler. It's interesting times we're living in, right?
I know there's I believe he's in the Midwest now. He used to be in Arizona. I think his name is Cody Center. He has the $ car number. It's just literally a money sign. So people get creative with it now. There's definitely a lot of different options.
Sure. Well, you got the 4Xs. Is that 40 or like what's going on? So
yeah, I have no idea on that one.
Yeah, no doubt. Peoria, Arizona. It's a beautiful part just outside of the Phoenix area. I've actually got a chance to spend a bit of time there. Unfortunately, no racing at Canyon Speedway Park because it was closed by the time I got there, but there's some cool things to do there. It seems like it's a growing part of the Phoenix metro area.
Yeah, it's definitely it's grown a lot since we've been there. We moved there in 2016, I believe it was. Like you said, we used to have Canyon. That was a fun little place. Very similar to kind of how Mojave is. We went to Mojave this year, and we got there, and it almost looked like they picked up Canyon and kind of put it right there. But that was a good little place. Unfortunately, it's gone. It was only about 20 minutes for me, so that's also a bummer. But yeah, we got there's lakes nearby. There's the entertainment district over there by Westgate and stuff is always growing. You got the stadium out there, and it's definitely it's grown a lot since I've been there. They keep adding to it, but if you need something to do and you're not our type of people who are at a racetrack every weekend and you need something to do, there's definitely a lot to do in the area.
Well, it's kind of mountainous a little bit as well. It's a little rocky in that part of town.
Yep. There's definitely you can drive 15, 20 minutes and take a couple different hikes in different areas. There's literally, there's quite a broad variety of things to do. So depending what all you're in, you should be able to find something that fits the bill for you.
No doubt. Well, racing, it takes a lot of time, energy, and focus. And of course, we all have regular jobs. But for you, away from your occupation, away from the race shop, what are some things that you like to do just to enjoy yourself?
Oh, that's a tough one. There's not much because, like you said, the racing does pretty much take everything you have, everything you're willing to put at it. So between work and being at the racetrack or prepping your stuff, there's not a ton of time left for other things. I did back in the day. I used to be into gaming a decent amount, so I have a $3,000 PC set up that collects more dust at this point than it does get used. It's mainly used for going on Speedway and ordering parts at this point. But if I have some free time and get bored, I'll occasionally fire that up. I was actually a week or two ago playing Fortnite with TM3 of all people. So he was kicking my butt pretty good, and that made me realize I lost my skills. So, but no, I mean, otherwise that if I get a free weekend, I mean, I like to nap because I don't get a lot of sleep.
Mm-hmm. There's no,
but there's
sleep while you can, right? There's no shame in that.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I mean, if I can enjoy some downtime, I try to make the most of it. But if it's not racing or racing related, it doesn't seem to keep my attention for too long. So there's not too much else besides that.
Awesome. Well, are we going to be seeing you at the Speedway Motors IMCA Super Nationals fueled by Casey's here in a little bit? Are you guys sticking down kind of there this year?
We're gonna stick around here. I'd love to go. I've never been. I've never even gotten to go just to watch or anything. The way the point stuff kind of shaped out, if we weren't in anything, I was gonna load up the stuff and contemplate making the trip. But we're in the lead of quite a few points deals around here, so we're just gonna take the time, go through the car, and finish out the season strong here. Next season, I'd like to do a little more traveling and go to some new spots. So it's definitely on the list for next year, as well as possibly throwing up the idea of doing like the Midwest Madness tour and stuff out there, just to kind of get a taste of the area out there and see what it's like. I know that's the place to be if you're into racing is the Midwest. So I'd like to get out there and see what it's about. And I've always tossed up the idea of packing up and just heading back there permanently. So that's kind of on the radar for me next year is figure some of that stuff out. And if I can't race it next year, at least go to the Super Nationals to hang out and watch and help some friends and stuff like that.
Well, and for people that want to help you out directly by supporting you or even promoting you through apparel, do you have an apparel run right now with shirts or sweatshirts?
Yeah, so if you go and find my Facebook, Nathan DeRagon Racing, there's a link right there in my bio. I got merch done earlier this year, so that stuff is still running. The site's up year round. It's not like a temporary deal. So we got our design from this year up and going, so you can go on there and purchase that. Shirts, tank tops, hats, hoodies, all that good stuff. So a company called Short Track Heroes helps me out and does my stuff for me. It's the same people that have done Chaz Bach's stuff for the year. So they're good guys. They've taken care of me. I've had no complaints with any of my stuff from those guys. Anyone who's bought it says it's been good stuff so far. So, like I said, if you go find my Facebook page, there's a link on there for that. And then next year, once the car gets a new look and stuff, we'll try to do a fresh run of that for everyone and keep it flowing.
Awesome. I know that every little bit helps. I mean, it's amazing how much you can sell in merchandise, and it seems to help teams out quite a bit.
Oh yeah, this is actually the first year I've actually had some real merch to put out. So I kind of done a light load at first, and the first weekend I had it, we were up there in Sholo, and like I said, the fans up there just seem to be a different breed. After the first weekend up there, I had to go right home and order more stuff because it flew off pretty quick. But I mean, you don't realize how much that stuff helps. But the $20 or $25 here and there, I mean, it adds up quick. And like I said earlier, racing's expensive. It'll take everything you got and everything you're willing to give it. So every little bit definitely helps.
No doubt. Well, and here we go. Taxi cab confession time. Not to make things awkward, but your nice little chapeau that you put together, your sombrero with the beer case cowboy hat.
Yeah.
What's the story with that, and has it always been the same brand, or do you switch it up? You just you have a different brand each day, or a different brand every now and then? You got a whole closet full of them?
So funny enough, I bought that as part of my 4th of July outfit for 4th of July last year. And the hat just kind of rode in my buddy's trailer for a little bit. My buddy Brandon Painter, he's one of my biggest supporters. But when we were at Winter Nationals, I happened to see it in there. I had kind of forgotten about it, and it was the first night we were there. We were under a rain delay before we kicked everything off, and I had the brand new bright pink race suit, and I found the hat in the trailer. So I looked at him, and I'm like, oh, I'm just going to look like an idiot for a little bit. I'm going to rock the whole ensemble and just walk around, and ended up getting a few pics snapped of me and made it on the IMCA Facebook and Instagram, and people thought it was great, and it kind of took off a little bit. So I did get a new one this year when 4th of July rolled around. I went went to Walmart, and they had I think it was the Bush Light special this year. So
Okay.
I got a couple of them floating around now for different occasions. So
Hashtag famous. Wow.
right.
That's crazy. Because I remember, I think, even broke it out when I interviewed you at Winter Nats this last year of like, break out the hat. Like, you almost needed an armed escort to bring that thing out of the truck. Like somebody could take it and, try it, but imitation is the highest form of flattery, right?
Yeah. I definitely. I remember I grabbed it for the interview, and that happened to be the same night I won. So I remember sitting there in Victory Lane getting ready to get out, and you asked us if we brought the hat, or it was sitting in the trailer. So that would have been the cherry on top for that one. But
yeah,
just something so simple. But I mean, I don't mind looking goofy or being different at times. So like I said, I threw that on with the bright pink race suit, and some people were digging it, and some people probably thought I was part of the rolling circus that was blowing through town. But
yeah,
it put the smile on people's faces, and it was in good fun. So
that's what it's about. We live in times, I think, that the more smiles, the better. Any times for that matter. And as long as it's not hurting anybody, it's okay to stand out and be different, right?
yeah, I definitely agree with you. And sometimes it can work. I mean, you never know who's watching. I mean, obviously, I can't remember I think it was Garrett Kunzman or Kuzman,
Yeah.
one of the photographers for you guys.
DeRagon.
Yep, he happened to be there and snapped some pics, and it took off, and it got me a little exposure for the week and stuff. So, I mean, what do they say? Any publicity is better than none. So
sure,
caught
yeah.
on there for a week a little bit, and like I said, it was just a fun thing overall. So.
Well, you mentioned some individuals that have helped you along the way, sponsors, marketing partners, or you can thank the individuals again that have helped you out. I'd just give you the floor because I know that is extremely important because that's what makes the 19 car turn left each and every week.
Yeah, absolutely. I got a lot of great people, and it takes the whole small army we got to make this thing go around. First of all, Brandon Painter with Painter but Motorsports, he's been helping me since I was about 13 or 14. We've built cars together. He's the type of guy, I mean, I could literally call him up and tell him I need the shirt off his back, and he would give it to me if I needed it. He's done a lot. I can't ever thank him enough for everything he's done. I certainly wouldn't be where I'm at without him. Of course, I got to thank my mom. I got to plug her special Mom TV. She's got quite the following now for videotaping at the races. She's always been supportive from day one, and she still till this day follows me around and watches me drive in circles on the dirt every weekend. So I mean, you can't ask any more of a parent than that to be supportive. So big thank you to her. Jeremy and Shane with Hodads, they're down here in San Diego. They've been with me for all 19 years that I've been racing, which is something that you don't really see often anymore with the way things go. So very thankful for them. Mike Hagerman with Mike Hagerman Race Cars, Nick and the whole Manalo family with M2 Motorsports, Scott Tenney, like we mentioned earlier with 21T Motorsports. I actually have his motor in my car right now, his gears in my car. He's followed me around to almost about every single race I've been to this year, and he always jokes and says that he just shows up and races my backup car for the weekend and is the mobile part supplier. But we couldn't do it without him. We've had a lot of fun racing together this year. Curtis and Amanda with Ryder Racing, Brenda Kirby with Empire Income Tax, Superior Steering Wheels and Graphics, Colin with DRD Graphics, keeping us looking good. A shout out to Brandon Jessen with Gold Fuss Shocks and Suspension. He's taught me a lot this year about the whole shock deal, and he's a guy I can pick up the phone any time of night and give him a call and ask for help, and he'll help me out. Austin Cool with Cool Engineering, Jason Aldridge, Rick Hibbert with Rick's Auto Solutions has come on board this year and helped us out quite a bit, and then Michael Rumbaugh Racing as well, along with all the fans, supporters that keep us going and root for us every week. Just thank you to everyone for keeping us going. Like I said, it takes our whole small army that makes it possible for us.
Awesome. It's great to hear all those wonderful people. Nathan, it's been great to, first of all, meet you recently at last year's IMCA TV Winter Nationals and get to know you more. And I really enjoyed this interview, and I look forward to seeing how the rest of the 2024 season goes for you.
Hey, thank you so much, Ben, and thank you for having me on and taking your time and doing this. Always get to enjoy doing this and doing a little bench racing with everyone and just having a good time. So thank you again for having me on.
Well, race fans, that does it for this interview. We hope you enjoyed it, and we hope that you continue to enjoy these upcoming interviews. We appreciate it if you would like and subscribe wherever you're listening, whether it's on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, wherever it's at. Give us a like and give us a subscription so that we can deliver more of these great interviews to you for your listening pleasure. In the meantime, wherever we're at, wherever you're listening, we hope you have a great rest of your day and a pleasant evening, and we will see you soon here at Highside Racing Promotions.